I'd worked hard to get to a point where I felt proud of my career, and hearing them laugh about it made me feel like I was suffocating. I'd come in hoping for a peaceful evening, but I could feel myself unraveling under their relentless digs. So I did something I'd never done before. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and headed for the door. No big speech, no explanations, just a silent exit. I could feel their eyes on me, the surprise and confusion as I walked out. The messages started before I'd even made it to my car, one after another lighting up my phone. They were shocked, calling me selfish, demanding to know why I would ruin Thanksgiving. But as I pulled away, I didn't feel selfish. I just felt free. Update 1. The fallout started almost immediately. As soon as I drove away from my parents' house, my phone began buzzing nonstop. By the time I got home, I had over a dozen missed calls, texts, and voicemails. Each one was a different family member, each with their own opinion about what I'd done. First, there was my mom's voicemail, tearful and dramatic, as usual. Her voice wavered, asking me how I could just walk out on my family like that. She talked about how much effort she put into making Thanksgiving special for everyone, and how it was heartbreaking to see me leave. Every word was loaded, meant to make me feel guilty, and I could almost see her sitting there, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue for effect. Then came the texts from my brother. He'd always had a short fuse, so his messages were angrier, calling me selfish and immature for causing a scene. According to him, I'd acted like I was too good for the family, and he was quick to remind me that real family doesn't just walk out. I scrolled through his texts, one after the other, all variations on the same theme. He clearly didn't want to hear my side of the story, just wanted to make sure I knew how wrong I was. The calls from my dad came next, one missed call after another. Finally, he left a long text. It was half apology, half guilt trip. He said he was sorry if things got a little out of hand, but reminded me that family holidays can be stressful, and sometimes people say things they don't mean. He ended with a plea to keep the peace and told me that family is all we have in the end. I wasn't sure what to make of his message. It felt like he was on the verge of taking my side, but then he'd pull back, falling back into the family unity line. As I tried to process all the messages, my Aunt Linda chimed in with a text of her own. She went on about how Thanksgiving is a time for family and how I had ruined it for everyone by leaving. She made sure to add that my mother was devastated and that I should call to apologize. Aunt Linda was always like this, quick to jump in, even when it wasn't her place. Then there was my sister, Jessica. Strangely enough, she didn't say anything. No text, no call, nothing. It was a rare moment of silence from her, and in a way, it was almost worse than the barrage of messages from everyone else. Jessica had always been the queen of passive aggressiveness, and this felt like her own way of punishing me by giving me the silent treatment. I knew I couldn't take it all at once, so I decided to take a step back. I blocked my mom's number temporarily, as well as my brother's, just to get a little peace. The constant messages were exhausting, and I needed a break from the guilt tripping. I left a few contacts open, like my dad and my cousin, who'd been supportive during Thanksgiving. I didn't want to block everyone entirely, just enough to breathe. The next day, my friends came over. I told them what happened, and they were there to lend a hand, surprised but proud that I'd finally set boundaries. They knew how difficult my family could be, and were happy to see me putting myself first for a change. We spent the day talking, laughing, and distracting me from the chaos of it all, and for a few hours I could forget about the family drama. In the evening, though, my dad texted again. This time, it was different, shorter, more blunt. He called me dramatic for blocking family members and warned me that I'd regret burning bridges. It was clear his apology from the night before had vanished, replaced by frustration. I could almost picture him pacing around, trying to find the right words to convince me to back down. As the messages kept rolling in, I felt a pang of guilt when my cousin reached out, the only family member who hadn't tried to guilt trip me.